Hello, and welcome to session 2 of our Into the Wild campaign. This is a campaign that features the Cinematic Environs book series by Critical Hit Publishing, and it's basically a series of books on how to make travel and the environment itself more interesting. All right, and so continuing from last week, I'll let the players introduce themselves, and then I'll tell you where they were and where they are. So I'm just going to go from left to right on my screen. So if Alex B, you want to go first, tell us a little bit about your character, what she looks like, and maybe what she thinks of the current situation.
My character is Pei Rightmap. She renamed herself when she decided she was going to make the world's first atlas. In general, she does not like her adventure so far because it is way too hot for her, and she is from a temperate forest, so this whole adventure so far has not been very much fun.
Right, she's a female half-elf.
Oh yeah, if you care about race or gender.
I'm trying to paint the picture. Just trying to paint the picture. So next was Alex.
All right.
Alex G.
Yeah, so I am Lord Kalen, Lord Kalen Aldrith, former. This is the son of a former lord of a minor barony, and he is a what's what I'm looking for. A desire to explore the world, following in the footsteps of his mentor, who is currently out somewhere in the world. He's dressed in not necessarily noble clothes, but clothes suitable for the environ in the desert. He's currently on all fours, seeing to his friend who's been badly wounded and is sort of half out of consciousness. He's a human and dark hair, average build, a little taller than average, and he is currently sort of looking down at his friend, sort of brushing any excess sand from his face and mouth and pouring a bit of his own precious water into his mouth, and even using just a little bit to sort of wash a bit of the sand away from his face and eyes and cool his head to get him. And he sort of almost realizes that he's using this water for this sort of almost profane purpose in the desert, and he puts it back and kind of brushes it away, and he's kind of like tapping him gently in the face.
Well, let me get through the descriptions, then we'll start the action.
Yeah.
So the mentor you mentioned you're following the footsteps of is your Uncle Morse, who took a trip across this desert 3 years ago, following in the footsteps of the more famous adventurer Artemis Hale. So next is DBJ.
Yes, I am DBJ. I am playing Vicus the Jack. He is a wilderness elf. He's very much like a Native American, very comfortable in nature. Came from a plains or grassland type area, and so although this is new to him, especially with the lack of water and foliage, he's glad to be away from the city and wants to reunite with his nomadic tribe, which is kind of scattered to the winds. And he's got a holistic outlook about nature and sees like spirits and the gods and the movement of greater forces in all things around him. And currently has some wounds and lost consciousness and suffered some other things from some undead beasts that snatched onto him and buried him bodily into a sand dune.
Right. Okay. And Steve.
So I'm Steve. I'm playing Ku. Ku is a warrior from a dwarven clan to the north near the volcano. He has been sent on this this journey, he thinks, collectively by all the gods, which is a shocker to him. But something just is not right in the world, and it's taken upon himself, or it's been thrust upon him, to try and figure out what it is. And so here he is.
Okay, so the party set out from the barony of Bethanor and traveled into the desert via the Ember City. You traveled a few days through the desert to a couple of remote outposts. You stayed overnight with a cannibal who only eats the dead. He doesn't eat the living. And then you traveled into the Cursed Desert. The heat has been upon you hard for the past couple of days, even though you're only 4 hours or so into the Cursed Desert proper. You spotted something sticking up out of the sand, which turned out to be the skeleton of a giant lizard, which came to life and attacked. And this confirmed the rumor to you that if you die in the Cursed Desert, you may come back to life as an undead. Unlife? All right, and so it is about 10, 11 in the morning. High sun is just starting. The heat is getting even hotter. DBJ, you're lying there covered in sweat, sand stuck to you. Leaning over you is Aldrich, just putting, as you open your eyes, he's just putting away water skin. You're wounded, but not to the point of incapacitation. The sand, you're on the side of a dune. The sand around you has been largely disturbed by the battle that just took place, and that's where we'll begin.
Vicus, how? Look at me. Look at me. How are you? What's?
What? Water. Give me some more water.
I again peel off my water skin and I sort of gently, put it to his lips and pours just a bit in at a time. Drink slow. Drink slow.
And I'll start as I'm drinking. I'm like coughing some of the sand out, clearing my lungs. I try to sit up, and I can feel the bruising on my ribs and checking my back. Clothes are a little tattered, and I look around for the beast.
I kind of hold him down. It's been dealt with. It's done. It's done. But you
can see the shattered remains of the beast in pieces. Its head and a bit of its spine has been separated from the rest of the body.
I look at everyone else. Say, has anyone spoken words over its form to keep it from rising again? Anyone?
It's only just happened. See to yourself first. Just all right. Calm.
And I look around for my supplies that I'm pretty sure I dropped in the sand. Weapon, pack, things like that, and start feeling around. Kind of chaotically, kind of worried about myself, and then I'm worried about something I dropped, and then I'm worried about my leg,
okay.
and then, so
okay.
That's what I'm doing.
So let's give you some tries to find your stuff. Then I'm going to even the odds.
Okay.
But I'm going to use the rule of 3 here.
Okay.
Because you're in a kind of a contained area. There wasn't like big winds. It's just happened. So anything that was on your pack animal is fine, but whatever was on your person, So name me some of the things you're maybe carrying, and then roll for each one, and roll a die. You want even or odd. If you roll odd, you're going to have to make a searching roll to see if you find it. If you fail that, you won't find it, okay?
Sure. All right. First roll.
Just name an item first, and then roll for it.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, I'm looking around for my short sword. I had that in my hand, and there's a good chance I probably dropped it. So,
Okay.
first roll, a 1.
All right.
So,
Okay. So I want you to maybe make some sort of searching roll here, perhaps perception,
okay.
to find your short sword.
Sure. Here's my perception.
As he does so, I'll say, we found you over there, and I kind of gesture my hand toward the area. Look right there, over there, no, next to the.
You slid down to here.
Next to that long bone. And well, essentially what I'm doing is I'm imparting a bardic inspiration on him to give him a D6.
Excellent. Okay.
Ooh, cool.
Which you can use after the roll, I believe.
Is it?
Yes. You can use it after the roll, but before you know the results, I think that's
correct.
It's been a while.
So what did you roll in your perception check to find your short sword?
I haven't rolled anything yet, but I will. I rolled rolled a 5 plus 4 is 9 for the perception.
When he's at D6.
Do you want to add a D6
might,
to that or not? Okay.
I would definitely like to add a D6 because I have not headed in the right direction. And rolled a 3, so that's a total of 12.
Okay, you find it, but it's deeper than you thought at first, but you do eventually manage to dig it out. Anything else you might have dropped? So I'm going to leave it totally up to you.
Yeah, and probably javelins on my back, and I'm sure I had things on my belt. What do you call that? Belt pouch. So.
Well, I'll leave it up to you. Maybe roll for your set of javelins there. Make even the odds first.
Yeah, sure. 2.
You find them easily.
Okay. And
yeah, pick one item off your belt that you might have been carrying.
I have it's a leather-ish scroll. It's basically an animal skin, and it's like the prayers of my people are scrawled on the inside of it, and it's like it's basically a large. It's not even square. It's basically, it looks like an animal skin, but the inside of it has writing on the inside of it, and various prayers for different periods of time and
nice
times of the day. Exactly. And
cool. This is like an important personal item. Why is that on your person?
Yes.
I guess you want it on your person.
Well,
cool.
The item is a prayer. I'm sorry. The item is a prayer book. But
okay.
Yes, because my background's acolyte. So this prayer book is basically a large animal skin. You can see where the legs and the tail and the face are at, but it's used as a prayer. So I rolled a 5, so I did lose that out.
Okay, so you're gonna have to make another perception check here, and I'll tell you now the DC's 10.
Oh wow. Okay. 15.
Yep. You managed to also locate that too, perhaps with a bit of religious guidance, or praying.
Thank you.
While he's doing all this searching, I'm going to go take a look at the bones of the remains, and I'm sort of examining in sort of fascinated way. I've probably never seen an undead thing before.
Okay.
And so I'm sort of examining the bones and trying to imagine how they were able to animate with no flesh, no sinew, no muscles to drive them, and as I sort of come to the one of the teeth of this reptile, I'm going to try and remove one of the teeth from it. And
Pay's gonna yell at you to stay away from that. That it's evil, and you don't know where it's been.
Well, obviously it's been here.
I said, you don't know that. It can move, even though it's dead. You don't know where it's been. It could have been waiting. It could have heard us and been hiding. Don't mess with it.
Superstitious nonsense. And I'm going to yank one of the teeth out.
Okay, I would like everyone to make me a con roll, please. It's a con saving throw for heat exhaustion. And we are during high sun.
Oh,
so the DC goes up by 5.
Okay, con. Let me look at my...
13.
Okay, so you're sweating after exertion, but you're not exhausted.
Okay, so yeah, imagine pulling on this tooth. Like, of course, this is right after the battle too. So, but
from what you can physically observe, it should have been impossible for this creature to. There's not enough muscles or sinew to make it happen. Anybody else want to toss me a result, please?
I got a 13.
All right. So same effect. You're sweating, but you're not exhausted. Did anyone get less than 10?
19.
No.
Okay. So same effect in all of you. You're sweating. There's some sand sticking to you. Maybe your hairs. You have hair. Is someone matted to your skin? But other than that, you're fine. But the heat is very, very oppressive.
Yeah. As I stand up with maybe one of the teeth, I kind of just tuck it into one of my pockets, and I'm going to take out a bit of rawhide, and I'm going to tie my hair back, get it off my neck, and put my hat back in place.
Okay.
Pay's going to tell you should not take evil things with you. It'll bring bad luck.
Luck. Yeah, I kind of as I'm talking to him, I kind of say, luck is nothing but silly superstition. If you want to follow it, be my guest. But we make our own luck, I think.
Okay, well, you're making bad luck by taking an evil tooth with you.
I give Pay a look like I'm with you. Like, yeah.
I just shake my head. And
what they're saying is you can't handle the tooth.
No, seriously, stop touching it. You can't handle it. It's evil.
Yeah, a player in my game would have suffered random damage from that pun.
Fortunately, I'm the GM.
I know.
Okay, so
as I shake my head, I just head back towards All Bold, my valet.
I'm gonna pull out my prayer roll and suggest putting it inside of that, because maybe that'll. I understand what you want it for, but please, let's be safe and put the tooth in here.
I turn back and I kind of look at him, kind of with an exasperated. If it would make you feel better, please. I
Thank you.
And I kind of take it out and I gingerly sort of hand it over to him.
Sure, it's a pretty good size. Like it's a.
It's simply a bit of bone.
This is a scroll
material.
Scroll case. This is a scroll case.
No, it's just it's literally rolled, and then it has a tie that's attached to it. So if you unroll it, it would be maybe 2 feet, 3 feet, and it just so it's like one leather.
Like a little.
Very much so.
Yeah. Okay, got it. Okay.
Very much so.
All right, we got into this really, really hot sun. I'm going to ask each person to roll me a 20-sider. You want unmodified. You want anything but a 1. This is to see if any camels have fled.
Okay. 5. So.
Oh God! I actually did roll a 1.
Yeah.
All right, roll me a D8.
And I'm already.
All right.
I'm already thirsty.
8.
So you
Alright.
cannot locate Camel 8. You managed to round up the other 7 camels. Camel 8 seems to have, I don't know, scurried off somewhere.
What?
Can we look for it?
Could be worse.
You can. You absolutely can.
Yeah.
The downside of looking for it, obviously, the upsides are obvious. The downside, look, you're going to prolong your time in the desert, use up more supplies, more heat. But you absolutely can if you want it. I will give you a chance to find it.
I say, look, it'll take us another 10 minutes to sort of regroup our camels and get ready to move again. Why don't you go to the top of the dunes and see what you can spot? I say, all bold, go with him. See if you can spot anything else. Here, take this, and I take out the spyglass and I hand it to all bold.
Me, sir? He looks at you blinking.
Who does?
Allbold, he looks at you blinking. Me, sir?
Oh, I thought you said Misa. I'm like, what does that mean?
No. No.
Sorry. Well, yeah.
It's his accent.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough. Well, yeah, you just go with him up there. I'll help take care of the animals and you see if you can spot where this camel went.
Very, very good, sir. So he goes and marches up. I want you to make me a roll for Allbold, and Pay, okay. I want you to make me a dex roll. You're going to make the same for Allbold.
Is this a straight roll?
Well, yeah, plus his dex modifier, which is 1.
Okay, so 8 total.
Okay.
I got 17 total.
Okay, about halfway up the dune, Allbold falls poof, in the desert sand, and he kind of rolls back about 15 or 20 feet.
I'm going to go back and help him up.
Okay. So you help him up, and you continue to march up the dune. Make me a con save, please, Allbold and you.
Okay.
Is this Constitution?
Yeah.
It's just from
11.
heat. All right, you're okay, but you're really starting to feel the heat.
10. Allbold got a total of 10.
Exactly what he needed. So again, the same thing. So eventually, the two of you struggle to reach the top of this dune. Now, while this is going on, what are the rest of you doing? Are you doing anything, Koo, watching all this activity?
Kind of watching and standing in the shade of one of the camels, since I'm a shorter individual.
Very, very handy. Hopefully one of them doesn't have to pee anytime soon, because
I'm not that short.
That could be awkward.
Okay, so at the top of the hill, I'm going to let you guys make, let's say, a survival roll to find this camel.
Okay.
How's that sound?
Yeah,
Just the two at the top. One for Allbold.
Can I make
And,
a perception roll?
he rolled okay, so 12.
You got those gems, right? You got those eye things, right? So it kind of makes more sense for you to do that. Yep.
Okay.
Allbold got a 12, but he's using the spyglass presumably. So I don't know if that helps him at all.
All right. I want to see what they rolled.
I dropped my dice. Okay. I got 12.
All right. So you guys see the camel, and it's about a mile back the way you came.
A mile away, huh?
Yep. It's faint. It's small. And you catch it actually cresting a dune, and then you lose sight of it again. And then maybe after 10 minutes, if you stay in there long enough, you see it going up and
it's going home. It's going someplace safe.
Are these trained at all, camels?
Yeah, I think. They're rentals. What do you expect?
No, the watering hole. It's probably going to go back to the last place it got water, which is kind of where I want to go.
To the cannibal? Camels.
I'm thirsty as all get out. I need cootie.
You got water on the camels.
Yeah, but we lost one of our camels.
Yeah, we need to get that.
Do you want to go back for it? Yea or nay?
Pay does. Pay doesn't want to abandon one of the camels because it could die all on its own.
So
All right,
do
so
you
maybe
guys
you
shake it?
yell something down from the top of the
Yeah.
dune or something?
Yeah, I yell that it's over there, and I will cast Thaumaturgy and try and call it to see if it will run over, and I can project my voice for a mile away.
Okay. Wow. All right. So I did a mile in the approximate sense. Well, we'll give you a shot at it. Make me an animal handling roll.
Oh yeah,
See if you can, let's see if you convince it.
I'm super not good at that, but I have a +1. You never know. Well, is an 11 good enough? I'm sure 11's good enough.
I'm gonna say it is. So the camel stops and looks up and spits, and then starts heading back towards you. But it's going to be about another half an hour or so before it gets there, if it makes it.
I
Yeah.
mean, it'll be 15 minutes if we go towards it with it.
Just go get it, and we'll start moving. Catch up with us.
Okay.
If you get on, you can ride it a bit quicker.
All right. I tell Phaedric, my owl, to stay with them, and I'm
You
gonna
can't afford
go.
to lose that water.
I'm gonna go get the camel.
All right. So you march off back towards Hope. Then the other three of you pick up and start heading deeper into the desert.
Yeah, once Allbold gets back down to us, we'll pack up and we'll start moving at a good clip, but not at maximum speed. Maybe we'll slow down just a bit.
Maybe at half pace so he can catch up or
Yeah.
something, because otherwise he's
Yeah.
going to be permanently behind you. So Allbold
Exactly.
is a little. He goes straight to his camel and he picks out a comb and he starts fussing with his beard, getting all the sand out of it. And he's got a little mirror and he's fixing with his hair. Tries to sort of straighten his clothes. His skin, his shirt is soaked, stuck to his skin, but he does the best he can.
As I sort of walk past them, I'll give them a little, good pat on the back.
Okay, your hand is now soaked with sweat.
Yeah, it's cooler.
Allbold sweat.
Yeah, I whip the extra sweat on my face to cool off.
That's gross.
Ugh. Okay. So you guys,
It's going to get a lot grosser. Just saying, it's going to get a lot grosser before we finish crossing this desert. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Down.
If we run out of water,
down,
we'll be drinking some other stuff.
Up a dune, and then down, a dune. This goes on for about an hour, and eventually Pay and Camel 8 catches up with you. I don't have the camel name, sorry.
Belk.
And so you guys press on, and this is like high sun. This is super, super hot. So I'm going to need Constitution rolls again for heat exhaustion. The DC is now 11.
All right. Okay.
Does it affect at all if I've been riding the camel to catch up?
No.
All right.
Yeah, the heat's still heat, man. Yeah. I got a 16 for me, and I got a 1 for Allbold.
So he gains a level of exhaustion.
Yeah.
Sir, I'm sorry. I'm not as young as I used to be.
No, don't apologize, Allbold. I say, take some water. Stay close.
I got a
Okay.
4.
All right. You can note you have a level of exhaustion as well too. So 1 level of exhaustion gives you a disadvantage on skill checks.
On all skill checks? That sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, exhaustion is a kick in the nuts. Yeah.
Wait till you get to level 3 exhaustion.
Yeah. Let's put the
Disadvantage
six
on
is
frickin' everything.
dead.
6 is dead. Yeah.
6 is dead. So yeah, exhaustion ain't nothing, and by that I mean it's not nothing. Double negative.
All right. So I want you guys to make me a dex rolls, please.
All right.
The DC is 10.
So if it matters, Rob, my con save was a natural 20.
Nice.
Oh, okay. So describe to us how you don't seem to be showing the suffering quite as much as the others. Describe to us how that is.
So I think as the camera we're sort of like pan across the group, right? You would see Kalen out the lead, and perhaps he has a towel and he's like dabbing his head, and then maybe you see DBJ's character, and he's like fanning himself and still picking some sand out of places that it shouldn't be. Like he's doing like the water thing with his ear, and like you just see a little bit of sand coming out. Then you see poor Oliwald, who's just like slumped over on the camera, and then it pans back to me, and I'm riding like kind of bouncing with a smile on my face on the hump, and for whatever reason, there's a slight breeze in my long beard, my long hair, and my little silken robes are fluttering a bit, and I'm just smiling as I'm looking down at everybody. I think it's because I grew up next to a volcano.
Okay, so you guys who rolled crappy on your dex saves, you guys fall prone, poof, and you're going to have to even the odds or drop an item you're carrying.
Obold got a 14, by the way, or 15, by the way.
I need to know, do I have disadvantage on this check? But it's not a skill.
No, it's not a skill.
Okay, then I got 14.
No, this is saving throw. It's not a skill check.
This is even odds, isn't it? So
you only got to even the odds if you rolled a 5 or less on your dex save.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, I got a 6 on my even odds. So.
And DBJ, what did you get on the even odds? You want an even number or an odd number?
3. Odd number. I dropped the water skin that I wanted to use because I'm freaking thirsty because I spent most of my time looking for my stuff. So, and I was going to beg for some of Koo's water since he doesn't seem to need it, and I just fall down like flat on my face, like it falls underneath me, and I pick it up and it's basically like wet sand inside of my water skin.
I kind of run over to him and I kind of try to help him, but I also grab the water and try to lift it up.
I'm like trying to turn it, like to turn it up to sip at it, and it's just like brown sludge because it's just like moist sand coming out of it. I'm just like, I just throw it down.
I pat him on the back. Saying, it's okay. We brought extra. I lie. I'm
going to need.
I'm trying to keep his spirits up. We'll be fine. Don't worry.
Go ahead. Look around. Well, I'm going to search for one of the nearest camel and like get some water off of one of the camels, and just stop to get the sand off of my face and shoulders because of the sunburn from earlier, and drink some more water.
Okay. Yeah, so you're going to consume some more water. So I'm going to ask Alex, you can cross off a half a day's rations for everyone, and then maybe a quarter ration for DBJ there, or for losing some water there. Yeah.
Yep.
And when you can, it's very difficult to wash yourself without water because you're so sweaty and everything is sticking to you from it. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, even if you wipe yourself with a rag, it almost like immediately just, again, kind of thing.
Nice.
Noticing him struggling with the sand and trying to wash, I'll get down off my camel and take a swig of my water, and then put my water skin back onto the camel, so I'm not taking it with me. And I walk over to him, try this. And I scoop up some of the sand, and I start patting it onto my skin where it is sweaty.
Mm-hmm.
When it's dry, wipe off crust. Take sand all at one time.
Okay, I think that's right.
You guys may also
I'm a
have
little
some
confused.
sort of creams or salves
Uh,
protectants as well.
Basically, what he was showing was if you put sand onto like your arms and stuff, when it dries into a cake, you can literally rake the cake off versus dealing with the individual grains, and that keeps it.
Yeah.
It keeps you. And while it's drying, you stay cool. And once it's all dry, you pop it off and you get air across your skin. You cool off again.
Yeah.
You normally use it with mud, but since you have the mud in your water skin,
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. I'm joking with you. I will try this. I think it's not going to be pleasant. Not when you're sunburned, but okay.
So I'm going to say you guys have a short rest and do this. Consume some supplies which you've just crossed off. Any advantages or anything that happens to you mechanically for a short rest, you can do now.
Yeah, I'm going to get one of our healing kits, and I sort of open it up, and I'm going to begin to sort of rub salve into one of the bruises that I have from this beast that attacked us, and I'm going to use one of my hit dice to recoup a bit. Okay, well, not quite back to full, but close. So I.
Is it possible to heal a little bit on a short rest?
Yeah,
you can cast spells. I don't think you heal naturally on a short rest, but you can cast spells.
You can use your hit dice.
Yeah, you spend your hit.
Oh yeah, that's right. You can spend hit dice.
I think it's just one, if I'm not mistaken.
You have 3 hit dice.
Yeah.
You can spend up to 3 today, but overnight you'll only regain 1 hit dice and all your hit points from a long rest.
Right.
Well,
you regain half your hit dice, which is rounded down to 1.
Yeah.
I'm going to spend my break reassuring the camel that ran away. And then I'm going to spend some time with the camels, making sure that they are friendly towards me.
Make me an animal handling roll.
Oh, I'm terrible at that, but I'll do my best.
Well, I was going to say, as I kind of see him doing this, I kind of see what he's trying to do. So I'm going to... actually, I'm not sure if I can cast it on someone else.
If it's guided,
speak with animals.
I believe itself.
Oh, doesn't matter. I got a 20.
Nice.
Cool.
Okay. So
you would have wanted that for later, though.
You.
No, it's fine.
Camels do not spit on you.
Well, that's nice.
They don't run away. They don't spit on you.
Okay, I can do that myself. I will take the time though to do to cast Speak with Animals.
Okay.
And I'm going to kind of walk down the line of them. It lasts for like I think 10 minutes or something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
And
all right, listen up, troops.
Basically, yeah. I want to say we're going to run into some terribly frightening things, as you saw, but be assured that we will protect you. If you need to run to protect yourselves, we understand, but you need to come back to us because we are the sources of water and food. You can only get that through us, so you need to make sure you return to us. And I basically give them that. I also let them know that that Allbold is going to look after them if we have to defend them against some sort of horrific things. And basically give them a camel pep talk, which is something I've never ever done before. But what the hell?
Okay, so it's unclear to you how much they understood, but you get the sense they got the gist of what you're saying.
Well, it's speak with animals. I mean, I should be able to at least get across the idea. We have water, food. We protect you. Come back. Always. Keep coming back to us. Basically,
yeah.
Enough to
absolutely. I'm just limiting it to their intelligence. Is all I'm saying.
Well, right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So nobody runs away or tries to bite you or anything like that. So they all seem to nod. They all look at Allbold when you mention his name.
I try and bite.
Well, that's perfectly allowed.
Well, and I also point out to him who Allbold is because they might not know his name. So I make sure I point to him when I speak his name so they know.
Right. Stacy Allbold is the runt of the litter, maybe.
Yeah.
So you guys finish having your break.
Mm-hmm.
You get ready and start moving again.
Yeah.
You've
Yeah.
proceeded a half of a day into the desert on what you expect to be about 9 or 10 days of travel.
Mm-hmm.
So
every so
again,
often,
it's good.
I was going to say every so often I'm also taking sort of a glance at the sun, make sure we're staying on track.
Yep, it's still there.
But, yeah, it's still there, but is it in the right place compared to where we want to go? That's the important bit.
Yeah. You think you're more or less on track. It's kind of hard to tell.
Yeah.
Like, should we be 2 miles that way or 2 miles? It's all the same.
Oh yeah, no, I know we're not going to get that, but
you're basically going in the right direction.
I mean, we can get the basic, heading where we're going in. So that's my main thing.
I agree.
As we are only a half day into this, and it's already been a taxing event to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to trot Sandhorse up next to Kalen, and I look over. I do not mean to pry, but this journey you had mentioned your master had done before.
Indeed, yes.
How was he able to send letter back to you?
Well, there are occasionally nomads that cross this desert. In this case,
he crosses his arms like incredulously. I just gave it to a hobo barbarian, and
that's how messages are passed on in these lands. I'm afraid
it's very possible the letter took a different route back.
Yeah. Yeah, I may not even know the entire route it took. I may be just making that up. But yeah, there are people who cross this desert all the time.
A big bushy eyebrow goes up.
I kind of reach up and I give him a pat. Don't worry about it. We'll be fine.
All right, so you guys settle into climbing dunes again, up and down and up and down. I'm going to ask each person to make me 2 deck saves. The DC for these is going to be 7.
Okay.
If you roll 7 or higher, you're fine. If you roll below 7, let me know.
Okay.
It means you stumble and fall and possibly drop something.
Okay.
Apparently, I just have a very dexterous camel.
16 and 12. So
I rolled 2 natural 20s on 2 different dice. So my camel is like dancing across.
Well, you guys, you guys aren't riding the camels for the most part, but you, however, are moving across the sand. Very little sign of passage, barely disturbing the sand. Like it's an easy climb for you. Compared to mountains, are you kidding me? This is nothing.
Look back at everybody. If you work so hard, you will get tired. You should walk easier.
Hey, it's just gonna glare at Ku, just dagger eyes.
Yeah, I kind of murmur to Allbold to say, he's a lot of work.
Ku takes 3 points glower damage.
Are you kidding? At this point in his life, he's immune to that crap.
Although I do advise everyone to walk next to one of the camels. Maybe when you're going up one of the mounds, perhaps have a hand on the some of the tack to help stabilize yourself. Because I doubt the camels are going to fall. This is their like natural habitat, so it's mainly us, bipeds that are going to have a problem.
Yeah, you can do that. One disadvantage to that is that the camels like to fart a lot, and they stink horribly when they do so.
There is that.
And then you also have to watch out for the spitting, which is infrequent.
On the bright side, with that smell in the nostrils, we'll probably want to eat less. So maybe.
And it might be the only breeze you get.
Ah, fair enough. Yeah, a warm breeze though.
So I would like everyone to make me 2 con saves here. Both of them are DC. The first one is DC 10. The second is DC 8. The first one is for sun blindness. The second is for eating sun.
What was the DC of the second one?
8.
10 and 8.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
I got an 8, and I was like, failed, but I guess I didn't.
I failed on the second one. I succeeded in the first one.
So you gain a level of exhaustion as well, and you're like, this heat is really starting to wear on you.
I kind of take off my hat and take a little towel out of my pack and wipe it across my face. My hat back on, and I keep the brim really low to sort of give me that little bit of shade. Probably would help him with the blindness.
What time of day is it now?
So it is approaching supper time, approaching the supper hour.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm
good.
gonna assume that no one is wearing metal. If you were wearing metal, you would have noticed it heating up to a point where it became painful and had to take it off. It wouldn't have just instantly burned you. It wouldn't have heated up that fast. So it would have been noticeable. So assume you're not wearing any metal. If you wield metal, that's fine for 5 or 10 minutes. If you hold it for too long, it's going to be hot enough to start burning you.
Yeah.
What about very small pieces of gold? Like, they jingle a little bit. You know the kind of thing I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Gold coins?
If they're in a pouch or something like that and not exposed to the sun,
No, they're on the clothes. They're tiny.
Yeah, but if they're not touching your clothing, I think it'd be okay. I mean, I'm not touching your skin. I mean,
Okay.
Yeah. All right. I'll say you can notice them. Like you can notice, like you can feel them. But I'm not going to say that's going to do a penalty. If you get exposed to something hotter, it might.
Pay is going to call Vicus over.
Sure.
Yeah.
So maybe after a couple of hours, you guys got to stop and catch your breath and sip of water, like carry on.
Yeah.
Pay is going to ask Vicus if she can look at his scroll.
Of course. And I'm going to retrieve the scroll that's wrapped around the tooth and open it. It's the interior is written in Sylvan, and there are I guess you call them like haiku sorts about nature and life and the origins of life and the order of the universe, things of that nature.
Pei looks around, notices that Kaylin is not looking, and then meets Vicus' eyes as she takes the tooth and throws it far away from them, and says, "Oops,"
Ooh.
and then points at the scroll and says, "What does this say?"
I like give Pei a side glance and then start reading off what the this corner of the scroll. It talks about how the moon met the sun and gave birth to the stars, and
as much as Pei originally brought you over just to get rid of the evil cursed tooth that was going to bring them horrible luck and kill all their camels, she's actually genuinely very interested in these haiku.
Okay. Yeah. I start to explain how my people have traveled the world, and I'd never traveled with them, and I want to travel to all the places that they've gone to. And so the scroll is basically like it is a abstract contextualization of how the world was formed, and I really don't understand it all myself.
Well, Pei is gonna make a mental note of everything you said and see if she can't
Sure.
actually find any of these things in it.
Look, the moon meeting the sun.
No, they're all metaphors. You know,
Yeah. Yes.
like there might be a time when I notice that there is a way that you could argue that this is a moon meeting a sun, like
During an eclipse.
during an eclipse. But I was gonna say more like I see a carving of a moon somewhere out in the desert, there's some ruin or something. I'd be like, oh, see, and then the sun goes up there, and then they meet, and then gotta find the stars.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So you make a note of the symbology of it. Okay.
Yeah.
You start looking for references for that. So after this short respite, you guys pick yourselves up again and start walking. The sun's starting to get low in the day, and the shadows are getting long. On the plus side, you're starting to come out of the dunes. The dunes are getting less and less.
What is replacing them?
Sand, just instead of great big hills, it's very minor, kind of.
Yeah. We should probably
forecast for today sand, tomorrow sand, next day sand.
It's gonna be 1,000 years.
I look back. Yeah, I look back where we came from, and kind of like look dismayed that if you look back far enough, like our tracks have disappeared.
Yep.
And I just kind of look around, like in each direction, and my eyes are just scanning around and just shake my head because it doesn't look like we've gone anywhere.
That's right.
And it's just like endless expanse. And I just, wow.
Yep.
Okay.
If it wasn't for the sun, it would be, there's almost no landmarks to note. Yeah.
We should get our tents set up.
Pei is gonna notice.
It's gonna get cold tonight.
Pei will notice your dismay and come over to you and say, I spent some time on the ocean, and it's very similar. Don't look around, look up. The stars will guide you.
Blink, blink, blink.
No, he's not wrong. She. She's not wrong.
I'm almost looking forward to the cold.
No, you say that till 3 o'clock in the morning. But we'll stop the caravan and we'll start unloading the camping gear, including the tents, and begin setting them up.
Okay. So you guys stop the caravan, start loading up setting up your tents, making some sort of any other preparations you want to do? Anything particular you want to do?
Well, just to sort of describe, these are sort of like low, sort of round tents, almost like the pavilion tents, but lower and kind of squatter,
mini circus tents.
Yeah, kind of. And we have like these really long, thin pegs, because you're not going through any hard soil, but they have to go deep into the sand to really anchor it. So we begin sort of like setting these up. I received pretty good instructions before we left, so we begin sort of laying them out in a rough circle around where the camels are going to be. Lay down some anchors for the camels as well, just to kind of keep them, from wandering off, that sort of thing. Try to get them as quickly as possible.
Pei is more used to horses, and she knows that when you take a break, you need to brush down the horses. So she's going to go brush down the camels while other people set up tents.
All right, you go over to do that, and Allbald sees you doing it, and he hands you the brush.
Because she doesn't even know anything about camels. I don't even know if you're supposed to do that with camels, but I know you're supposed to do that with horses, and she's used to horses.
Try not to get your foot stepped on. They like to do that.
Yeah, and not so much. Camels
back
don't.
to the TED.
Camels don't sweat the same way horses do, so they don't need that quite as much. In fact, they're just as likely to just kind of lay down in the sand and kind of just get clean that way. But
spitting is their nastiest habit.
If they lay down in the sand, I'm gonna panic and be like, "They're not supposed to lay down."
Well, they don't lay down on the sides, but they kind of get their legs. They kind of fold their legs under each other and kind of get
they low.
Yeah, but if a horse does that, it means they're sick.
Horses don't.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna panic. They're sick. All of our camels are sick.
They're
so,
fine.
Yeah, you start panicking.
Yeah.
You start panicking.
I agree with you. I say they're fine. They're fine. This is normal camel behavior. I was told. This is their way of resting at the end of the day. They're fine. I promise you.
Okay. Pei will believe him. Pei doesn't have any reason to believe that he would lie to her.
Sucker.
Plus, the camels aren't showing any signs of stress or distress.
Yeah. Well, and the fact that every one of us is relying on these camels to survive the desert, it would not be in my best interest to make sure that the camels were having a bad time.
They seem to be doing better than you guys.
Yeah.
Except for that one who's homesick. Okay, so you guys sit down and have a meal. I'm going to ask you to... Nope, I'm going to wait for the morning for that. So you guys want to do anything this evening? Go ahead.
I do. I did bring on a little bit of firewood. Not a lot. Okay. But enough to get basically like a small fire going for maybe a couple hours. Just a little thing, just to kind of give us a little bit of light, and it's no more than like a few torches, sort of like bundled together and to burn, and so we can maybe heat our food a little bit, or it's as much for morale as it is for heat or anything like that. So I set up a little fire in the middle of the tents and begin heating a little water over it.
Good.
I just one second. Caitlin, can you make me a... this is going to be like a knowledge roll. So let's say an intelligence roll.
Yep, just straight up intelligence?
Yeah, I think so. I'm going to give you advantage on this roll for your background. I'm not telling you why I'm rolling it. Because I'm not telling you if you don't get it.
Advantage. I roll 15 and a 3, so I'm going to take the 15.
Okay, so one thing
plus intelligence, 17. Yeah.
That's fine. So one thing you know is that one of the imports to the Ember City is wood, and it's strictly because it's not. It's kind of scarce, or in a desert, stuff like that. So this wood you're burning might have even come from your homeland.
Probably.
Sorry, Ku, go ahead.
Ku, I will go over to one of the camels, or to the camel area, and you'll see him as he kind of holds his fingers out in front of him like he's measuring something, and then I'll go over and I'm going to cut 2 7-foot lengths of rope, and I'm going to take my one of my blankets, and I'm going to punch a hole into the top 2 corners of it so that I can knot the rope through it. And I'll leave that over there. But as I'm doing that, I'm sitting there on this perhaps one piece of rock that pokes out up here, and I point up at the moon and the stars near it, and it's interesting that no matter where you are, at least for the most part, these are a constant. This sister and her servants. It is not often that I would speak of it, But whatever is plaguing the world is also plaguing her kind. And he'll look to Caitlin. When you used magic earlier, did you experience difficulty?
I did. I think.
Lethargy.
I was a bit pressed for time, but now that you mentioned it, I did notice a sort of I don't know if it's a hesitation, but almost as if like if I were walking through thick mud.
Yes.
Like there was something restraining the power from flowing.
Yes. It has become worse and worse over months.
By the way, Rob, just a quick thing. When I probably used prestidigitation to help me start the fire.
Okay.
Did I notice any kind of hesitation with that, or was it just a healing spell?
I'm going to say a little bit. I'm also going to say that I'll go so far as to say that you might have even tried a few days ago to cast a create food and water spell, and it didn't work at all.
Yeah. Well, that wouldn't be me. I don't have that one, but
okay. Anybody who has that.
Right. Yeah. No. But okay, I make note of that as well. But I say, yes, I noticed even now when I went to make the fire, there was a slight resistance.
I'm not an expert in magic, but there are a few things I understand, and the magic comes in. It's like swords. It comes in different blades. Some of these blades are for healing, some of them for protection, some of them for creation. Yeah, I myself, I know some prayers that allow all of these. The ones that for creation have ceased to answer my will. Magic
Indeed.
normally flows from the brother like rainwater down a steep mountain. It is simply up to us to learn to channel that water into something. And now it is as though there is a disruption, what is the word? When you build it, stops water. A dam. Yes. Now there's a dam, or perhaps a log has fallen. Water still seeps around it.
Yeah, maybe not a dam. Yes, hindrances, rocks in a stream, you might say.
This is what I meant when I said I was sent by all the gods. My people, we understand that there are many, many, many gods. The ones we revere, the brother, we deal with him on our travels in the day. And then he points up at the moon and the sister. Opposites, but both necessary. He has not turned his back on us. She has not turned her back on her followers. But many temples, prayers are going unanswered. Many performers stuttering in their shows. That was my first inclination. I was watching a great performer. He tells the story of the 7 giants and the brother. And as he does, he waves his hands and weaves this magical show, these illusions. And at one point, he summons this mighty spear. And at that culmination, there was nothing. And it was shocking, but I have since connected. And I'm worried that if it is simply a tree that has fallen, I worry that there is a dam being built where that tree fell.
Well, I personally have little use for the gods, but this I can't deny the effect that whatever this is has had on the magic about us. You know nothing of its cause.
I have seen visions. None of them make much sense. And with that, he'll pull out this small, shallow bowl. It looks almost like an alms bowl. And
Wooden?
he'll yes. And he
I
pours.
can't imagine we're doing this like sitting at this little tiny fire sort of burning as well at the.
Right. So I'll just quickly paint the scene here, and then you can continue. So the four of you are kind of gathered around this fire. The camels have been tended to. Around you is a circle of how many tents did you set up?
Probably just 4. All bowls will be in my tent.
Okay. So there's 4 tents set up, and then literally just beyond that are the camels. They're sort of lying down in a loose line, and this isn't a bad idea to do because the camels like to get up and piss a lot, and at least they're not pissing close to where your fire is. But they're like 30 feet away. They're not far or anything. They're just sitting there. Okay, so gather around this campfire, and Ku is telling this story.
So yeah, he pulls out this wooden bowl. It's shallow like an alms bowl, and he pours some water into it and moves it so that it catches a little bit of the starlights and the firelight. So you see this sort of red and white lights dance across the surface of it. This is a item from a temple that my mother is priestess of. With it, I can see dreams. If you were to close your eyes and fall asleep, I could witness what is inside your head. It is not working the way it works in the temple. It has not been working well for a while. But sometimes I wake and I will see fragments of my dreams, or fragments of the dreams of what I believe is the brother or the sister. The gods, they do dream after all. And in this, I see closed doors. I see half buildings. I see shadows, but no figures. Sometimes I cannot tell if it is dreams or if it is events that have passed, or perhaps events that are to come. I don't have the best control over this. But I know that it was this that was driving me. It is this that I believe may hold some answers. Unfortunately, again, it's like on magic. There is a disconnect. There is hesitation. It's like trying to watch fish swim under murky water. The water makes them not appear in the same place, and the murkiness keeps you from telling how many are there.
And you've seen this throughout your travels.
It was this that led me to my travels. An item such as this, in a temple such as my mother's, should have no problem reaching the gods.
I turn to Vicus. What are your thoughts I'd value your input in this.
Well, his words seem very much reminds me of my own people, which is surprising, but I know nothing about the being able to touch magic and shape it. I don't have any opinions about that, but I'm very surprised his people are, I would dare say, cousins to my own. The way he describes them, the way he talks about the sun and the moon and the way the earth is shaped, how our ancestors had to live when the sun disappeared behind the moon, when the mountains cracked and spewed forth its lifeblood to change the rivers. So I would say maybe this is just another age. Maybe magic is, not for us any longer. I will say that this is a bad omen if the dead can rise again in these desolate lands, yet we are unable to shape magic. Then maybe there's another force that can.
Well, that thing we fought, that certainly had no hesitation to it, and certainly that was a magic of a kind that animated those ancient bones.
It was cursed.
Well, there may be residual magic on it that we can detect and perhaps learn something from it. Vicus, if you would, I can take a look at it and perhaps glean something from it.
I wouldn't suggest that.
It's not cursed. It's simply a different sort of form of magic. Evil magic, I'll grant you, but it's not contagious like a virus, I'm sure. Please, I want to give it a look and perhaps examine its aura for something deeper, perhaps.
I could allow it to travel with us.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I disposed of it, and it's for your own good. It's for your own good. And I stomp away in the sand and just go in the opposite direction. I don't want to face Pei or Kalen. And I kind of turn my back on the group and kind of walk away into the darkness. Not very far, but
From emphasize your point, you hear a camel snort
I've got my arms folded.
I was going to shout. I was going to shout an expletive at him, but he stormed off before I could. So I was just superstitions. Damn him.
No, don't damn him. That object would have damned you. He saved you from a terrible curse. You would have turned into that creature.
What curse? What possible curse could there have been? You know nothing of that. Never mind. Let's get some sleep. The night will be shorter than we like. And I kind of get up and get up from the fire, brush the sand off, and stalk off to my tent and crawl in.
All right. When you get in there, you find Albold already asleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Spot on impression.
Yeah. So I pretty much just flop down on my bedroll and throw my arm over my head and pass out.
Does everyone else want to retire to their tents?
I'm going to sit out here in the dying embers of the fire and the starlight with my bowl for a little bit.
Okay. I'm going to come back to you in a second. So, Pei and Vicus, are you going to bed?
No, but I'm just going to I'm kind of frustrated with Kalen because he doesn't understand how messing with dangerous things, how dangerous that can be when you just do it.
This thing almost killed you.
So,
jeez.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just gonna go by Pei's tent, but I'm just gonna sit outside of it and kind of plop on my rear end and just kind of stare up into the stars.
Oh, okay. Pei.
Pei is going to encourage Phaedric, her owl, to go over and cozy up to Vicus, kind of as a half apology, because he took the heat for something she did.
Okay, so your owl flies to the top peg of the tent. He's sitting outside, and I believe, Vicus, you said you're outside of Pei's tent?
Yes.
So the owl is about, 5 feet or so away on top of the main spike of this tent. And it looks down at you with big eyes.
It's mocking me. Fine. I do a half turn away from it, it just kind of I'm still seeing it, but it's just I turn the other direction.
Okay.
I have no idea what it wants. It's just...
eventually it starts to get chilly, but I'm going to go back to Ku first. So you're sitting there, the fire's still, it's low, but still going. You got your bowl out.
Mm-hmm. And I'm watching these wispy desert clouds cross in front of the moon, in sort of that way that the sister is known for her secrets and veiled messages. And I can't see the son or the brother at the moment, so I'm staring kind of across the bowl at the embers, and out of the periphery, the bottom part of my eye, I'm watching just the moonlight as it sort of goes from this brilliant white to this gray to this brilliant white to the gray, and it's not unlike though the journey we've been on. The clouds cross the moon, but after they're done, there's no trace of where they've been, and there's a bit of reassurance in that when he does look up, he can occasionally spot the clouds and they're still moving. So even though where they've been has been completely erased, at least they're still moving forward. And
I'm going to suggest, if I may, that in the tradition of your people, you also see maybe shapes of the cloud, like in the clouds as they go past the moon.
Sure.
And you might look to that for symbology. Like, what does that represent? What is that shape of?
Yeah. I mean, I think at first as he's watching the shapes in this in the reflection, he's trying to he's working hard on finding some symbology in them, and so he sees things like a strong mountain, or he sees things like a forge, and then it occurs to him that these are clouds in a distant land, and they may not take on the same shapes that they would. This is an unfamiliar place for him. So he stops trying to make them into things and starts looking for them, and that's when he realizes that they aren't strong mountains. It's a transient tall dune, right? But it just seems to be so large and go on forever. And he can see that there is some sort of wave motion, almost like water. And at first, that's a very warming thought. But then he realizes it's not water like a lake. It's a vast amount of water, because he can see the cloud pass, and it's more like the white cap of a wave, and the sky is this vast ocean. And he, after the desert will come an ocean. But why?
Now, the visions that come to you from your bowl, do they come to you in your dreams, like you were saying?
No. So he
or
uses.
Are you conscious when you get these visions?
Yeah, he's conscious when he gets them. And generally, like I said, if he's using the item, it's to peer into other people's dreams, and that's part of the therapy of the bowl. But every once in a while, when he wakes up, he can look over at the bowl, and it's almost like that fleeting image of the dream. You know, those ones that drive you nuts, where you can remember it was awesome. If you'd written it down, you'd be a millionaire in Hollywood, but you didn't. And so he gets that. He gets that occasionally.
Okay, so give me a second. So Pei and Vicus, Ku sits out there for hours staring in this bowl, and the air gets cooler and cooler until you start maybe wanting to go inside your tents where it's warmer, or get a fire going, or you're going to start shivering. It's your call. What do you want to do?
I'm gonna go over and complain to Vicus that it's cold.
Okay, well, your tent's right there. And getting colder.
Yes, it's fine. And I'll head towards the tent.
Okay, you each have a tent.
I'm annoyed with Kalen, because he's like completely certain that that this tooth is nothing, and Ku kind of this seems like someone who's very like assured about his people and how the world works, and
guy doesn't even sweat.
Right, and it's like I know that it is dangerous, but I'm still confused and kind of like not as educated as them, so I'm a little frustrated.
Everyone knows the dwarves sweat through their tongues.
Okay, so
exactly.
The other three...
I go over to Penny. It's like, you know, I make my way inside, because I don't want to admit it, but I'm getting kind of cold, and I go inside.
All right. So you two eventually retire to tents. Ku, you sit there and you do your ruminations and your meditation with this bowl. Two visions come to you. The first vision you get is of a battle between elves and giants. The elves outnumber the giants, but the giants are more formidable. And again, you don't know where or even when this vision is. That passes, and then you get, it sort of clears, and then you get a vision of an obelisk. You don't recognize this obelisk, but you feel a strong need to go to it. It's a tall obelisk it's golden in color.
Okay. Can I see anything surrounding it? I mean, does it appear to be in the desert? Does it appear to be in the mountains?
I'm going to say you don't see anything surrounding it, but you do see on top of its peak, it kind of comes to a peak, a large sphere.
Okay.
And it's like balanced on the point of this obelisk.
Okay.
All right, and then eventually you're going to retire to your tent unless you want to spend the night outside.
No.
I would like everyone to roll me a d20. Alex G, I'm going to ask you to also roll for Albold. Anything but a 1.
Oh, okay.
So I just need to know if you get a 1.
Yeah.
Nope.
18 and, well, 2, so not a 1 for Albold.
Okay.
It was close, right?
All right. So when you wake up, the first thing you notice is that all of you, your skin feels like a little tight and maybe slightly leathery a little bit. It's a mild sunburn you're experiencing here. It doesn't mechanically affect you, but you might be vulnerable to like slap damage or something like that.
Slapped.
Yeah, like so he's got a bad sunburn and like someone smacks you, like smack. Bastard.
We need to include that somewhere. Slap damage.
So you all this sort of slight sunburn,
Yeah.
and the cold, the surprising cold you felt overnight. You were glad to have the tents, and it is gone, and the heat is on you, and it's 80 Fahrenheit already, and it's just barely sun up.
My character is wearing is almost only her face exposed.
Okay.
So she's got a sunburn on her face, but not like on her arms or anything.
Okay, fair enough. You hear a faint chewing sound, Pei. Sounds very close by.
I'm gonna inspect.
The rest of you wake up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna inspect myself for it.
Okay, you see nothing chewing on you, but you do notice that there is a camel chewing at like the hem of your tent.
I'm gonna push it away.
Okay, so it's just kind of got its like nose under there, and you can just see like lips, like kind of nah.
I'm not gonna like aggressively push it, but I'm just gonna walk over and apply steady, continuous force to urge it away.
All right, so make it spits at you. I'm gonna roll to hit. 2. You managed to definitely avoid the camel spit. The rest of you are awake. You can proceed as you like.
Yeah. Kaylin is just gonna, come out of the tent. It's gonna stretch a bit, sit down where the remains of the fire were, and just sort of begin, eat a little bit of food, drink a little bit of water, wander off just outside the tent area to pee, and then and then come back.
Okay. And you can cross off another half-day supplies for everyone, please. Food and water. All right, and the rest of you, just tell me what you're doing.
I'm going to go collect some camel poo.
Okay.
And put it onto the blanket that I tied to the ropes.
You succeed.
Once we are moving, I will tie that blanket to the back of a camel so that the poo will bake in the sun behind us as we're traveling.
Nice.
Okay. I don't want to be following behind that, but
no, it's a good idea. It'll be fuel for fire.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so you start gathering camel shit. Does anyone does that strike anyone who's curious? Or?
No, I look at it curious at first, and then after a moment, I remember what I was talking. Oh, okay. I kind of get it, and I kind of catch his eye, and I give him an approving nod, and go about breaking down the tents.
So when you do look at me and you catch my eye, I kind of tongue in cheek. I told you, I am a good cook.
May frowns at this entire thing. She has no idea why you would collect poop.
I'm a dwarf, huh?
She's not used to wood not being readily available because she's used to living in a forest.
Yeah. No, we burn where we must.
Okay, you guys have a short breakfast. That was a long rest, so you regain all your hit points and a 1 hit die, and anything else you might regain over a long rest. 1 level of exhaustion is restored to you if you lost a level.
Sweet. All right.
I'm going to ask Lord Kalen to make me a navigation roll. This is a survival roll. The DC is 10, but because you have a map, you can make it with advantage. This is to stay on course.
Yeah. So I kind of walked to the top of one of the dunes, and I kind of look back, and I kind of, based on where we set up the tents, I have kind of an idea where we came from, and I begin sort of peering around. Total of 23. So
okay. So you head out, and you feel pretty certain you're heading out in
rolled the
right
map
direction.
and took it back in. Yeah, no,
within a mile or so, anyway.
Yeah,
big area.
and travel anywhere out here is kind of ish.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, and I make sure we get everything packed up and ready, and then we, as soon as everything is packed up and everyone has eaten and drank their fill, we're gonna head out.
Okay, so the camels and you start moving out the caravan. You walk for a couple of hours. I'm going to ask everyone to make me a Constitution roll. The DC is 5, including all bold.
All bold is a +1, right?
Yeah.
Then you get a 5.
He's a +1 to the 3 physical traits, and he's a +0 to the other 3.
Okay. And I got a 5 too, so we both just barely made that one.
Okay.
Not a good start to the day.
So you can notice maybe your sunburn, like you can really start to notice it, like you get, it's starting to feel a bit itchy and tight, and make sure you're familiar with the sensation. Yeah. As you continue on, you spot movement, maybe 50 yards ahead and to the right. It looks like a single person at first, wearing rags. Closer examination suggests it's not a complete person, and yet, in that you can see parts of skull and stuff. It's just one person. The person is about 4 feet tall. You can recognize this as a dwarven skeleton, probably a boy.
It's
not quite perpendicular. He's traveling a path. He's walking. He's traveling a path not quite perpendicular to you. Not heading towards you.
How far off did you say it was?
About 50 yards, 50 meters.
Yes. But I can tell that this thing is partially decomposed.
Well, as I said, it's just wearing rags for clothes, and you can see like a lot of its skull.
Yeah.
It's
probably
more
bone.
Probably more death. I was gonna say
that's what the skull is. The bone, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's probably more, dried and jerkied than actually decomposing.
Gross. All right. Well,
if it is aware of you, that gives no indication.
Yeah. I think we should give it a wide berth. There's no point in approaching it unless it approaches us.
Pay looks at Vicus.
We should let its soul rest.
Yeah, she's like, this is an abomination. It needs to not exist. Whatever it is suffering eternally until we, put it to rest.
As that may be, but if we stop and free every soul that wanders this desert, we could end up wandering with them ourselves. And I'd rather not.
It looks like a boy, right, Rob?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I.
Now, by boy, you mean male, or do you mean young?
I mean a dwarf of age 10.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I let out a sort of a, and I will I fold back a flap of saddle blanket on the camel I'm walking next to, and I'm going to pull off a very large crossbow.
Okay.
Give me a moment. And I stand on it and I pull it up and cock it so they're just, and I walk over to Vicus. Would you mind kneel down?
kind of dubious, but I do so.
Okay. And I'm going to set the crossbow stock onto his shoulder so that I don't get any. And I'm going to wait for the little skeleton boy to walk in front of it, and poof.
Okay, so I'm going to say right before that happens, it turns and starts walking towards you. Okay.
Yeah, it still
You
gets
can
shot in
still
the
fire.
face. Yeah, it
Okay.
still gets shot in the face.
So roll the hit.
What?
It's going to be 18 to hit.
Okay, so the skull just shatters from the impact of the bone. It splits apart anyway, and the crossbow buries itself right in this the forehead of this former dwarven boy, and he just pitches backwards, poof, in the sand.
I say a quick prayer in my native tongue, and I tap Vicus on the shoulder. Thank you.
I
look. I just kind of shake my head.
And look back at Pei, and I say, we can't just leave him there.
Pei's gonna say, there's nothing there. It was the cursed remnants. Prison for a soul. There is nothing to do with the body.
Rob, having seen that and seeing the concern on Vicus's face, I am going to I kneel, and you'll see I kind of repeatedly touch my head to the sand, and then I'm going to sit back up and let out one of those very throaty sort of song sort of bellows.
Mm-hmm.
And as I do, there'll be a flash of almost sunlight across my eyes, and I'm going to use Divine Sense to look for other undead outsiders in my vicinity.
I'm sorry, you're looking for undead in the vicinity?
It's Divine Sense, so it'll give me undead and outsiders, and it's the power.
What's the range?
I'm looking it up right now because I don't ever use it.
Okay.
Steve.
Huh?
No. I said I think it's the replacement for the old detect, evil.
Yeah.
60
Makes
feet.
more sense.
It's
Okay.
Yeah. It's more.
So the way the spell works, correct me if I'm wrong, this dwarven boy you just put down, he's no longer undead. He's just dead now. So it wouldn't pick up on that, right?
Right.
It just picks up on undead.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so it'll celestial fiends or undeads within 60 feet of you, and it'll tell me whether or not they are celestial fiend or undead.
Gotcha. And how long does this last for? Is it instant or like an hour or
No.
or,
I believe it's very much instant.
or a minute or in any case you detect none within 60 feet.
Okay. That's fine.
It says till the end of the next turn, so it's
Yep.
yeah.
Okay.
It's just kind of like one.
Yeah. You detect none within 60 feet.
One ping on the sonar. Bing.
It'll also tell me if the area has been consecrated or desecrated ever, which is kind of cool, but probably not applicable. It's just kind of cool that it does that.
Yeah. I'm just thinking if the entire desert is cursed, does that count as desecration? Probably not.
Well, we kind of already know. It's kind
know.
of in the name, cursed.
Yeah.
So,
we kind of already got that part.
so I mean, if it counts the whole desert, then yes, everywhere that's going to be true in the desert.
Yeah, it says it everywhere you go. Yeah.
And as I kind of look at a Ku and Kalen, and you know, I'm more than like angry or anything, and I just kind of say to myself out loud, like, you know, the only thing worse than us, you know, rising if we fall is the loss of our souls out here.
Well, then we must press on if we don't want to lose them. I don't want to end up wandering around aimlessly in this place as a corpse.
Pei tells you that she doesn't feel well, and you suspect possibly heat stroke. And so she kind of goes and flops over one of the camels and just sort of lets it carry her.
We'll put her on Bren, the camel in front, because that's the one we've already depleted. You already started depleting food and water.
Good to know.
I've kind of kept them in, kind of doing them in order. So that one,
I got you.
It'll kind of, yeah. So she shouldn't burden the beast too much at this point.
And camel number 5 is carrying a bag of shit.
Yeah, more or less.
It's fine with me. Okay, so you guys move on. Did you do any? You just did this sort of. Are you doing any sort of last rites or anything like that? Or are you just moving on?
I mean, I say a quick prayer, like I said, in my native tongue, but I mean.
Okay, make me a religious check.
Okay.
I'm actually Ku. He did the prayer.
18.
Okay, so the body of this dwarven skeleton just like sinks all of a sudden into the sand. The sand just sort of swallows it up.
And as I see that, I'll turn to Vicus. It is fitting. Someday the world will reclaim us all.
That's.
I just hope we don't
why my
die.
people moved. Yeah, well, it must be something that humanity has done for us to be punished this way. I suspect that it's not just here, but I believe it'll spread everywhere.
So seeing his unease, it makes me wonder how much of this is sand and how much of it is bone dust.
Yeah, that's a fair enough point, but we needn't worry about curses and all that sort of thing. I suspect it's more land that's just gone sour. Enough people die in a place and it takes on a taint.
Yeah, that doesn't mean anything to me. Now I'm obsessed with the fact this is probably I'm breathing in bone dust. Like,
had to put that into his head.
Yeah.
Although my mentor did tell me that of all the dust you have in your home, at least a significant portion of it is dead skin. So it's not really that much different, is it?
I'm gonna make a scarf out of a tabard, and I'm gonna wrap my face. This is not cool.
All right.
And also to keep secondarily to keep the sunburn out. So
Okay.
I mean to keep the sun away from the skin. So I wrap my face and do a little like I'm not exactly sure what the description would be of that, but like around the face and on top of the head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a tabard.
Well,
like
actually,
a turban. I'm sorry.
I actually did pick up one of those clavas that we have in the desert book. So I actually have that wrapped around my head now, and over it, and then I have the hat sort of on top of that, and so that's sort of not only wrapped around my face, but draped over my shoulders. Especially after the heat from yesterday, so I'm starting to use that more.
Okay. So that works, but damn, it's hot.
Yeah.
Oh, it's hot. So you guys start moving on again in this oppressive heat. You march for much of the day. I'm going to have you make me 2 con rolls, please. 2 Constitution rolls.
All right. 8 and 12 for me,
You're okay?
and 7 for Albold.
Okay, so he's gonna. I'm gonna get back to that.
Okay.
DVJ. Yeah, I'll tell you right now. You needed a 6 and a 10 respectively.
Okay. So he filled in the second. Oh, actually, I didn't add his 1.
Oh.
He still didn't make it, but yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
How'd you do?
I'm pretty sure I failed the second one. 17 and 7.
Okay. And Ku, your ace these as usual.
Yeah, 18 and 14. There's a benefit to being a dwarf.
Nice. So, Albold and Vicus, you are now you now have minor sun blindness. You're at a disadvantage on perception checks to get a good rest in. A short rest might do this, or but you're going to need to spend some time like not looking at bright things inside a tent, or you know what I mean. Cover your whole head. I don't, something like that. All right, so you continue to, as I said, this you go on through most of the day. Near the end of the day, you come across what looks like a lake bed, but you don't see any water in it.
Mm-hmm.
You can easily go around it.
Is it just sort of like white hard pan? Or?
Yes, all cracked and everything else
Yeah.
at the bottom.
Okay.
There might even be a few bits and pieces of bones, but no entire skeletons there.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll just press right across it. At least then we know nothing's going to reach out of the sand for us.
Yeah. Okay. So you want to go down into this crater and back up, or you can go around it. Like it's not hard to go around.
Oh, it's not that big.
No, it's big, but I mean it's not directly in your path.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. If it's not directly in our path, it's not going to take any time. We'll kind of skirt it and go around then.
Okay. So we're going to come to the end of the second day.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys set up camp again and go through the similar procedure with the tents.
Yeah.
Do you want to accomplish anything that evening?
We'll make sure that the the camels are secured a bit further. We're going to spread the tents out a bit more and have the camels sort of more in the middle and secured better so they can't nibble in the tents, since apparently that's a problem.
With one, anyway.
Yeah.
He made it his favorite, so.
And yeah, no. Other than that, I mean, I will stay up a bit longer, and actually kind of sort of enjoy some of the cool air. I know, and to the point where even the sort of like the little bit of chill I get from it is almost welcome in a way.
Yeah, there's probably a sweet spot there, eh?
Right.
An hour
Right, exactly. Yeah, we just kind of enjoy that little. It's chilly, like on nights when it's good to sleep in. So, I wait till I get a nice little chill so I can crawl into my tent then and, and curl up and get comfortable. But other than that, yeah, nothing particularly different. We'll, sit around being probably a little quieter than the previous night because I'm still a bit annoyed at the whole, superstition about the
throwing
tooth
the
thing.
tooth away.
Yeah, it's like these superstitious fools.
Ku, do you want to use your bowl again?
Yeah, I think with the last sort of visions of that obelisk, I'm trying to get a better idea where it is. So he will take it out. And
Okay.
Oh, by the way, did you tell any of us about the vision, or are you just
No, not yet.
keeping to yourself? Okay. So,
There's not much to tell yet. So
Okay.
yeah, I'll take it and I'll fill it with water from a different camel.
Mhm.
And I'll sit down with it and sort of repeat the same events of the night before.
Okay. So you get two visions again. The first vision shows a dwarven family, a boy and a mother and father, also dwarves, traveling across a desert. They seem happy. The camel that the boy is riding on gets its foot caught in a crevice, and suddenly the crevice opens and the boy falls in. And in your vision, the parents don't seem to notice, and they keep going. And then that vision fades.
One less mouth to feed.
Then you see not the obelisk, but the sphere you saw above, perched on the obelisk.
Mm-hmm.
Only this time the sphere is covered with symbols. The symbols are vague. You can't get, they're not distinct enough for you to tell what they are, but you're sure that they're all different. And there's quite a few symbols covering the surface of this sphere. And then again, that vision fades as well.
Okay.
In the second case, you also feel a need to check it out. Let's say that.
Right. Okay.
So next morning comes. I need everyone to roll a d20, please, including all bold. I'm just looking for ones here.
I rolled a 2.
no ones for either of us.
Okay. All right. So the next morning comes. You feel kind of the same sort of sunburn you felt the day before. It's not worse, but it's not better. It's that sort of tightness, and it's not quite comfortable. You're just not used to it. You know what I mean? Even through the clothing, like the heat is noticeable, but it's not burning you or impeding you in any way. So you guys wake up. You have your breakfast repast. If you want to do anything, go ahead. Otherwise, I'm going to assume you head out again.
Yep, and I'm deleting the.
Right, so it should have been two full days for 4 people,
Right.
including camel food, which is like 10 pounds or more per camel per day.
4 people. Yeah. 4. Yep.
Or 5 people, sorry. You got all bald.
Yep.
This second morning, I'm kind of frustrated with the idea of just like stripping down to just stripping down to just like pants and but but then now I'm like I'm afraid of getting burned and
Yeah, you don't want to go uncovered into the desert. For sure.
it's frustrating.
I will make a point of finding Vicus in our camp this morning. And last night I saw the boy and his family in the bowl. They had lost him many years ago, but he is with them now. They are happy.
This place, it's I think it does more to damage the soul than any of the unliving could ever do.
It does indeed. No point in turning back now. We press on.
So I'm going to have Kaylin make me a navigation roll again. You have advantage on this roll because you have a map. The DC is 10. It's a survival roll.
All right. Yeah, 11. Yeah, made no problem.
Okay, so once again, you get your bearing and you set out with confidence that you're headed in the right direction. You travel for a few hours. I'm going to have everyone roll me a con save. The DC is 5. This is for heat exhaustion.
And I'll got a 5. He just made it again. He's having a rough time. But
he's struggling.
Yeah.
Pei still isn't feeling well. She can speak and everything. She's not incoherent, but she feels very, very nauseous, and this is signs of heat stroke.
Yeah, we definitely keep her on the front camel, Bren, since like I said, that's almost depleted of supply. Well, actually, is pretty much depleted of supplies at this point, and we're working on the second camel now. So, so she the camel is not burdened by her.
Okay, you travel for I don't know, more time. Just goes on. It seems interminable out here. You notice something now. Again, these dunes. You're no longer in the big dunes. It's just sort of the soft rolling sand. Now you see this vast expanse in all directions. It looks pretty much the same. One thing that does catch your eye is some rock jutting up out of the sand. Not very high, maybe 4 feet, 3 feet, jutting out of the sand. A piece of rock about 8 feet across, maybe, and it's about 100 yards to your left. You can alter your path slightly to veer towards it or not.
We're not anywhere near.
It's like the only thing that's not sand that you see, though.
Yeah, and we're not anywhere near the well or the oasis that we sort of had heard rumors about.
I suspect you're still about 3 days away.
Yeah, I didn't think so, but it could be water. So
we I don't believe we can afford to take too many detours.
I agree.
This heat, this.
It's thing is it's a long path, right? So if you want to check it out, you're just kind of going to go like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's totally up to you.
But Vicus isn't wrong. I mean, too many of those little swerves in it.
It's totally up to you.
I'm sorry. I assumed it was in our way. I figured we would just go through. Like, I wasn't sorry. I wasn't thinking of avoiding it. I was thinking that we literally would go right towards it and past it. So I'm sorry. I got the impression that it was like in the direction we were heading, which I say we just go in that direction.
It's up ahead of you, but it's slightly to the left.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We'll veer a little bit. Maybe we'll veer a little bit towards it so we get within sight of it, and then we can see if it. Maybe it's an old outpost with a well. Who knows? I mean, we might. If we can get water, that's huge.
Okay.
We can refill a whole camel with that.
So you get 50 feet away. You can tell now that it does look like an old well, an old stone well.
Oh, cool.
You also hear.
I was even hoping that. I was just like.
You also hear sounds coming from it.
Of course we do.
Like sounds like.
All right. Well, I'll say wait here, and I'll pull my axe off of my pack, and I'll kind of heft it in my hand, pull the shield down, and I'll kind of like walk over towards this well. What does it look like? Is it like a circular well? I mean, what is it?
Right. So picture your typical sort of stone well. Only the difference here is that it's not a whole bunch of fist-sized stones. It's just like 5 or 6 larger stones that kind of.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I kind of cautiously approach.
There's no roof on it. There's no winching thing or anything like that.
Right. Yeah, really rough thing. All right. Well, I'll make my way over, and kind of as I get closer, I have my shield and kind of more of like peer over the shield into it and take a look.
Okay, so as far as the light penetrates, you can't see anything other than the well going down. But somewhere from beyond where you can see in the darkness, you hear this. Whoa, whoa.
Yeah. I kind of give a little smell.
Desert air.
Yeah, nothing. No smell of water or anything like that. Okay. Yeah,
I'll let you make a perception check. I'll let you make a perception check.
All right. Not incredibly great, but let me see what my bonuses here. 10. Not very exciting.
Smell desert air.
Yeah. All right. So if I don't hear any kind of splashing or anything like that, I'm just gonna, I'll back away.
Okay.
Did that sound intelligible for a moment? Like, or was it just moaning? Okay, fair enough. All right,
Make your own call.
To Blave. Yeah, so no, I'm gonna I'll go back to the rest. Like, as I kind of get within, close to them, I just kind of shake my head and kind of gesture to move on.
Okay, you guys carry on for several more hours through high sun, where it gets more intense. I'm going to have you make me another con roll for heat exhaustion, and then I'm going to have you stop for a short rest. The DC is 11 during high sun.
I did really well on that one. Natural 20, so I got my second wind on that one. All bold.
Excellent.
Is plus 1, 13 for him.
Okay, the DC is 11.
Yeah.
If you didn't make it, you gain a level of exhaustion from heat exhaustion. You can cross off half a day's worth of rations for 5 of you. You have a short rest at noon. This heat it's just heat and sand and very little else. However, after several hours, you do see something else, and it's moving. It's sort of in your path, but you see it a ways away, and it looks like a whole bunch of figures. They're not walking directly towards you, but they're walking on a path that will cut across your path. So I'm going to say you see this from about, I don't know, a good couple hundred yards away. Several hundred yards away, maybe.
I'm gonna pull out my spyglass and stop and take a better look at them.
Okay. So this they look kind of like skeleton warriors, I guess is the best way I can describe them. They have bits of metal. They look elven, and you can also see that many of the skeletons are incomplete. Like they're missing arms or shoulders, or in a couple cases, heads. Things like that.
Okay.
Huge sections of rib cage are missing. Their weapons are basically spears, and the spears are in likewise condition, broken, incomplete, and not all of them have a weapon. But you can tell enough from the bits of rag they're still wearing, and that they are elven. They were elves.
Okay. And you said they're crossing our path, not coming at us?
They're not quite coming at you, but they're kind of like this. So they're on a path that will cross your path.
Right. Okay. Well, I kind of put it in my hand and I say, and I kind of huddle up with Ku and Vicus. I say, there's a line of more of the cursed things crossing ahead. I suggest we. How many were there again?
At least 50.
Okay. Well, yeah. I say. I think there's far too many. At least 4 score. If we if we try and deal with them, while we may be able to best them, we would more deplete ourselves if we try, I think.
Maybe a distraction, something to
Lure them off.
get them to travel after something. One of us.
I don't know if we even know what draws them. The
Hobbled. I got a job for you.
Oh, how you doing, Albold? Very badly, I suspect. No. Well, what drew the attention of the dwarf boy? I mean, he turned towards us, but it seemed, I don't know, when we paid attention to him, I don't know, almost as if as soon as Ku took aim, it seemed to be aware of it.
Well,
I'm going to let each of you make me an intelligence roll.
Okay.
Right.
I am an intelligent being, just not today.
I rolled a complete total of 2, so I know exactly what's going on.
Okay.
I got a 15.
Okay, and Ku?
15 as well.
Okay, so Ku and Keelan, you both remember part of the rumor that you heard about the Cursed Desert. I mean, it was that something that dies or comes back to life, but it's also doomed to continue whatever it was doing when it died.
Oh, that's right. I remember that now. Well,
Armed soldiers. They mean to continue the killing, I would say.
yeah.
If what you say you see is apparent,
Yeah, but
fine. Then I will ride in the opposite direction, leading them away, and I will meet you in a day's time.
is that wise?
Nothing out here is wise.
Well, perhaps this might be perhaps less wise than some of the things.
If we wait, will they not pass?
They may.
They're going to pass pretty close to where you are now. They would probably see you if you didn't move. They're about 200 yards away, roughly.
Well, so if they're kind of cutting across us like this, could we sort of veer the opposite, kind of the opposite angle and sort of keep
You
our
could go on a path
relative
perpendicular, and
Yeah,
if they
keep
don't
our-
hear you, sure, absolutely.
Well, so yeah, in other words, kind of try to go a little parallel with them in the opposite directions, kind of, keep our distance, kind of thing.
Hey, I'm assuming you want to go like perpendicular, right? Like away from their path,
Yeah,
right?
it's kind of hard to show on the screen, but like if we're going straight this way and they're cutting across us, kind of like this, if we turn this way, and kind of,
I gotcha.
go around them a bit that way. If
that's what you want to do, yeah, you can do that.
Yeah, I think I'd like to at least try that. I mean, if they're moving and we're moving, it shouldn't take us too. We shouldn't have to go too far out of our way to.
Is that the plan then?
Yeah. That's I'm open to anyone else's ideas. Obviously, that's just my suggestion.
Lots and lots of fireballs.
Do you have those?
No,
I don't.
All right. Okay, so you guys try to stealthily move in a path parallel to them. Ku, I'm going to have you even the odds. If you roll an odd number, a camel makes a sound that they hear. If you don't, you roll an even number, you're fine.
See what happens. I rolled a 14.
Okay.
That's even.
So they pass by. As I said, you can see that there's at least 50 of them, maybe more, and the skeletons have been damaged by something other than weather, because there's huge sections of them missing.
Yeah.
Okay. So this
do we see it? I just kind of, just as a matter of interest, I just kind of glance at them and see if they have any kind of tabards or standards that they're carrying, anything that would identify their place of their point, their culture of origin or anything like that? And,
I'm gonna say no. There might be bits and pieces, but it's not something you would recognize. Very, very old. You'd be certain of that. That if they are wearing anything, it's from a while ago.
Do their skulls have
decades or more.
pointed ears?
Yeah, if elves have pointed ears, then yes. I don't know.
of course they
If
do.
elves have pointed ears. I don't know what ear bones look like on the
I
outside of
that's
the
what I was
skull.
saying. Is I don't think you'd be able to tell that, but they might have more slight features that would make us think they were elven.
Well, I rolled a 2, so
you
I'm
have to. Yeah, actually, I just count the ribs. They have one extra rib than humans and other species.
Most of them.
Common knowledge.
There's the odd one. There's the odd freak.
The 6 fingers.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
So as we're passing them,
Go
I think I saw this in the vision also. An elven army fighting giants.
You saw this?
Not this, but the battle that led to this.
Well,
it's possible they came from another age entirely. That this cursed desert is like the bone that you speak of. It could be a millennia ago, and the sands have blown and they've risen yet again.
well,
Looking at their weapons, I would think it is a much older force.
you said they were fighting giants.
Yes.
Well, hopefully we don't encounter any of that army on our way. Yeah. So as soon as we can, we'll sort of veer back, onto our course.
It was a very slight deviation. Like,
Yeah.
it's not really going to make a difference in the long run.
Yeah.
Okay, so you carry on. I'm going to have everyone make me another 2, in fact, con rolls. The DCs are going to be 8 and 10 respectively. This is for heat exhaustion and sun blindness. If you already have sun blindness, you don't got to roll.
I did get exhaustion.
Okay, so you gain a level of exhaustion. The heat has just been so oppressive day after day after day.
Allbold also got exhaustion, but he is not blind, so he's fine with that.
Okay.
I am.
I suggest
you're not
Allbold-
blind. You just have sun blindness. It's
Well,
disadvantage on
Yes,
perception.
Yeah,
checks.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I suggest to Allbold to say, Allbold, with Kvik is that's the second camel, is we've used quite a few supplies. I think she can take you if you'd like to relax.
Yes,
for a bit.
very much so.
Why don't you? And I'll give him a hand. I'll give him a hand up onto the second camel.
Okay.
Just take it easy, and I say, I tell you what, and I'll hand him up the spyglass. Say, why don't you, if you feel like it, just keep an eye out on the horizon. It'd be best if we know further in advance before we run into any more of these surprises.
One of the things that's difficult out here is that while the ground is like flat-ish, it can still have like little kind of, you know what I'm saying? So if you're on the ground, it's going to be hard to see too far in advance.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, that's what I figured.
So,
since he's gonna be like way up on the camel, and with the spyglass, he might just. I mean, even if it only gives us like an extra 10-minute warning. That's a benefit.
So he sets the eyeglass between the camel's ears, like on its head.
Oh, there you go.
He's looking through it as they're bouncing along. You guys eventually stop. Oh, sorry.
No, I was gonna say that'll probably also help with the blindness too, because it'll, now he's gonna be just focusing into that in the one of the Larry is not going to be like.
I would think if you
Looking like-
did it for hours, that would probably get to you too.
Oh well, yeah, that's true.
So if you guys stop and you guys make camp again.
Yeah.
So we're gonna cross off. That's 3 total days of rations for 5
Yep.
people and 8 camels.
Mm-hmm.
So you have this baked poo, which I'm assuming you're going to use to make fire.
Indeed.
Is that right? Cool.
Yes.
So it doesn't smell as bad as you thought it would. Certainly less than fresh camel farts.
Camel smarts.
Sorry, I was typing in to do that. So, all right. So you guys set a fire again. I'm going to have you roll a d20 each person. You don't want a 1.
Okay. 7.
This is to see if anything disturbs you in the night.
I got an 11. That's 2 1s.
All right, so you get
Twice
20.
disturbed. Yeah, that's right. 7 and 8. So
Yeah, cool. So again, it's you're starting to get used to it now, but it's surprising just how cold it gets in the evenings. You let me know if you want to do your visions again, Koo.
I'm not going to, because one of the things about the bowl that we talked about is the water has to come from a different source each time. And so I don't want to keep tapping out
Good call.
Yeah.
Good call. All right, so this is the 4th day.
I was gonna say if you're in will work, you can always do it in the morning.
I thought about it.
Just as a side note, I wanted to key into how they started the fire, because I've never started a fire that way.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to okay, all right.
Well,
I get it.
Yeah, I would assume if prestidigitation works, we do it with that, and if not, then flint and steel. And poo.
Yeah, either method will work. Prestidigitation is going to have that delay again, and it will consume minor spell components. That's not an infinite resource. Yeah. But you can certainly do either way. Or the flint and tinder works too.
Yeah, I was gonna say if we're not really pressed for time, so I'll actually the first night I did the prestidigitation, but from this point on, I'll probably just use flint and steel. Make a small tinder bundle and kind of strike it, and then you blow it into fire, and then you pile the poo around it and the dried poo.
Gotcha.
So
okay, so. The 4th day of travel, you wake up and your skin is starting to adjust somewhat, but it feels like a little bit more leathery now than maybe when you first set out.
Yeah.
And you guys have your breakfast and head out. Once again, the heat is just like, bam, it's just like on you like a wool blanket. And so you guys start heading out. I'm going to have you make me 1 heat exhaustion check.
And the exhaustion we had from yesterday is removed, correct?
Yes, yeah. Over a long rest, you gain back all your hit points, 1 hit die, and you regained 1 level of exhaustion. If you had 2, you get back 1 back.
Right. All right. I ended up getting an 11, and Allbold.
DC is 5.
Okay, yeah, he made it.
We're not at high sun. During high sun, the DCs go up.
Right.
Okay.
And I'll have Allbold again. He can ride the camel. Keep an eye out.
So if you got less than 5, note the level of exhaustion. When you carry on this time, so things are as normal. However, you can see to your left, to the south, a bit of rock sticking up out of the sand in places, like short juts of rock. Big enough to be noticeable from like a mile away, but it's not constant. But there are faces and facets of rock. There could possibly be caves there or other things. This goes on for a little while, and then you stop because you see something noteworthy there, Ku. You see a particularly tall mound of rock that stands well above the others, and it is completely covered in sand, unlike the others. And part of this mound sort of has like a spire shape to it. Kind of, It's like a huge hill with like a big tall spire, but it's all covered in sand.
But generally speaking, these are all like natural looking rock formations, not like carved or ruins or something like that. Okay.
Yep. Except for this one, it's
unusual in that
it's way bigger and like well over 100 feet tall, and it's completely covered in sand, whereas the other rocks aren't.
I believe we need to go there. And I'll point at it.
Okay, I kind of look over at it and say, well, it's certainly unusual, but may I ask why?
I think in ancient times it was perhaps a temple. I've seen it before in visions. At one point there was a large orb that rested on top of it, with ancient writings inscribed on the orb.
Well, putting aside how you know this for a moment, what is there for us? I mean, is there water? A place to rest? Safety?
Imagine. We talked before that magic is like water. Yeah. Imagine that you are the water, and you want to get past the tree. And so you try and try. And one time, you find a small path under the tree. Not the normal way you would flow, but nonetheless, you're able to send your water down this mountain. It is this effort that I think is the gods or just magic reaching out to us. It would make no sense for the bowl to work and see this obelisk if there was not a need for us to go there.
So you think this is something of your gods or spirits or what have you calling us there?
I think this is in connection to why the magic does not work right.
Well, I suppose it's we'll need to rest anyway. I suppose it's as good a place as any.
It is a giant pillar in the middle of the desert, and we could do with a change of scenery.
Mm. Yes, my only concern is any other things that may be lurking within its shadows, but we'll take a look. Why not?
Okay, so it's not quite noon yet, and this is about a mile to your left, which I guess in the grand scheme of things isn't much of a derivation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We'll make it our sort of our noontime rest spot if we can, and maybe there'll be some shade there we can take advantage of.
So when you get closer, you can see that this section is definitely different than all the other sections. And so what there is a whole bunch of natural rock that comes up, maybe forms like small mesas, shallow cliffs, even caves and stuff like that. And then there's a bunch of sand and then another rock and sort of like that. Not in really a pattern, but sort of in a line. And then in the middle of all this, and again, so there's gaps of 500 yards or so between these jets of rock. But in the middle of all this, you see this huge mound of sand. So this is like a hill that's about 500 feet across in both directions and about 100 feet tall or more. And it looks like it's been kind of pushed up out of the sand, and it's sand's underneath it. You know what I'm saying? Where all the other rock, it's pretty much clear of sand for the most part.
Yeah.
This thing is completely covered in sand. And so you can see, I got a little picture for you. You can see at the center of this hill, like a sort of spire of sand that goes up. Just to give you
so the sand seems to be actually like defying physics almost, like,
No. Yeah, the spire part it does. The spire part it kind of does. Yeah.
I mean, you can see it maybe with wet sand, but with dry sand, you wouldn't normally see this, right?
Correct. Yeah, and like it's completely covered. Like there's wind, and it's blown most of the sand off the other rocks, but not this one.
Okay, that's unsettling. All right. Yeah. So we'll certainly approach with caution.
So you're at the base of this hill, then.
Well, I was going to say, I think what we'll do is maybe stop. We'll stop the camels, maybe 100 feet away or something like that, and I'll have all we'll tell Pei to stay on the camel. She should rest herself, and I'll have Allbold make sure you secure the camels. We don't need any more running off as happened last time. We'll check it out. And
very good, sir.
Hey, Rob, not that I understand the concept of it, but just for appearance purposes, is it almost like the pillar is holding that sand by static charge? Is that the type of cling it's getting?
Maybe. You have to get a little closer to tell.
Okay.
Like this is in the center of the hill, sort of thing, of this whole hill.
So it's just a giant fist flicking us off?
Right. It's good. This is giving us the finger, yeah.
The spire shape, it might be more accurate. I didn't maybe draw it right. It might be more accurate to it's sort of like a nutcracker shape, like the soldier nutcrackers with the kind of goes up and then there's the round head on top.
Oh, okay.
Which is cut off from my picture, so it's kind of like that.
Oh.
Somewhere in between those two things.
So this orb that you described could actually be under the sand then?
Yes.
Okay. That is strange. Okay. Yeah. So I guess we'll walk over to the hill and
you're at the base of this hill.
What's the scale on it, by the way? Like if we were standing next to it, how tall would it be to that sort of plateau before the pillar?
The very bottom across would be like 300 feet.
Okay.
Going up
half. So be 100 feet to the flat area then.
Yeah. Right, but it's a hill.
Geez.
It's not super steep, right? It's
okay. All right. I guess we'll look around the base first, make sure just kind of walk around it and maybe kind of get a feel for if there's anything.
Right. Okay, so what's unusual is that it looks like, as I said, that this was pushed up out of the sand from underneath the ground. Mm-hmm. And the sands kind of just didn't fall off of it.
So,
well, Ku, this is your. You saw this or something like it, perhaps. Any thoughts?
All right. So I'm going to take my water skin, and what I've been doing is the nights I've used the water into the bowl, I've poured that back in as sort of my rationed water, right, so that I'm not necessarily wasting it. But this water that's already been used for this spell, I'm going to take it and pour it back into the bowl. And sort of kneel in front of this large structure and hold my hands out and then dump that water onto the sand. And this is a trick that the dwarves use to find potential new caves. They watch for the way the water runs and cracks that it seeps into. And Ku's not the most desert savvy person, so the fact that the sand's going to absorb most of the water doesn't even occur to him. But it's sort of like a double meaning, right? Because this is how we find new caves, as well as like very much so this is offering up like literal life, right? Because without the water we'll die. So I pour it into the sand and I wait for it to run a certain direction, and I choose that as the direction that we need to proceed to try and find an entrance to this.
Okay, where
what
are
I perceive to be it.
you when you do this?
Oh, wow. So let's say that we're on one side of this, and left
Sure.
is east and right is west. I would
Okay.
kind of be in the center, a little bit more east because that's closer to the sun and the brother. So a little bit east of center.
Are you on the mound, the hill itself? Are you at the base of it? Are you away
So
from it?
how hard does it look to scale?
So it's about. Oh, you could walk up it.
Oh, then then I'll get all the way up.
There
I'll get all the
was
way to
dunes
the
that were
spire.
steeper than this, probably.
I'll get all the way up to the spire-ish area, and then I'll dump the water.
The spire you probably couldn't walk up. It's too
Up
steep,
to it.
But the rest of it, fine. So when you drop the water kind of goes sort of almost straight down into the sand, and it forms like a little wee hole. Okay, like you know what I mean, like as it moves the sand out of the way. And when you look down, you can see about a foot down something green, kind of shiny, in this like little.
All right. Well,
like a pitch. There's a hole about across like a quarter across.
Right. Well, my even my dwarven arm's longer than a foot, so I push the silken robe up my arm, and so you see this like calloused hands of a warrior, and then this sun-hardened leatherish skin that's becoming, and then there's this pale in comparison upper arm from where his sleeves have been down on it, and I'm going to like sort of spin my hands like a child would making a hole into like a sandcastle on the beach.
Gotcha.
All the way down, and I'll even go as far to lay down on the ground to get my arm all the way down in there, and I'm going to try and feel whatever that green shiny thing was.
Okay, so I'm going to say it feels to you. Actually, you can make me an intelligence roll. This is a good one. I like this.
15.
Okay, so it's a hard surface that you're touching contact with. It's smooth, but smooth with not like all one plane. Smooth in different planes.
Does it feel like a multifaceted gem?
Yes.
Yeah. So the dwarf in him just immediately picks up on that.
Yep.
I believe there is a statue here, and I'll start trying to clear out some of the sand. Now I am not rapidly digging at this. It's far too hot for that.
Yeah.
Well,
but I'm going to
plus it would take a long time.
I'm going to scoop back sand to try and expose a bit of this so they can see what I'm looking at.
Okay, so I'm going to get. So you say you get the hole to about fist sized.
Okay.
And yeah, it looks like a slightly shiny green gem. The whole part you covered, like the flat. You know what I mean? It's part of a gem.
And it does look like the gem is far larger than the hole I've made.
Oh yeah. I want to give you. It's not like one flat gem face though. It's like jagged gem face. If that makes sense to you. If you took a gem and just kind of like smashed it in two,
sure.
It's sort of flat but not smooth flat. If that makes sense to you.
Got it. So it's been broken on a plane, but there are edges to it. No problems.
Yes. Yeah.
Should we excavate this thing? I mean,
to excavate this whole hill would take days.
Well, I know,
Get it by hand.
but I mean, just to clear more away.
Pardon me.
Now, the stone or whatever it is, does it look like it's like opaque or translucent, or?
It looks like hard gem, like hard gemstone, like what are they? Like an inside of a geode kind of thing, you know?
Okay, so it's sort of translucent. Okay.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. All right.
Well, I wonder if we could expose some of the sand around the upward pointing spire
Mm-hmm.
and see if it's made of the same material.
All right.
Well, hold on. I go back down the hill, and I go over to the caravan, and I'm going to go to, I think it's the camel belk, and I'm going to dig this up, and I'm going to take a small little shovel off, and I'll bring the shovel up to the to the hill.
No problem. So just so you know, when you move up this hill, like it moves like normal sand, it kind of rolls under your feet a little bit and stuff like that.
Right.
When you get up to where the spire is and you start digging away, eventually you expose part of it, and you can see more of this green gem where it meets the base of the spire, and then the spire seems to be an amber gem. With it has much larger facets. It's much less choppy, if you will.
Yeah.
The surface.
This is amazing. I'm as I'm sort of like uncovering this, I'm fascinated by it now. This is the sort of thing I've always wanted to find, the sort of ruin or whatever this is. And as I sort of begin to slowly uncover it, I'm also kind of looking to see if there's any kind of markings on it, any kind of writing, runes, shapes, images, that sort of thing.
Not in the little bit you've exposed. No, you don't see. It's a green surface meeting a golden surface. They both look like gems.
Yes, I'm going to keep digging a little bit. I'm not going to try and exhaust myself, and because I'm well aware of the heat, but I'm like digging in and moving. How far does it go into the between like?
It's about a foot deep on the mound and about 4 inches deep on the spire.
Okay, so it's not deep at all. Okay. Yeah, so
no, but it's a huge surface area. The base of that spire is like 100 feet across.
Right.
Like it would take days to do it manually.
Yeah, and again, I'm not trying to uncover the whole thing. I'm just trying to uncover a big enough section where we can kind of get in and kind of take a better look at it. And
well, you don't really see any entrance. I'll say you uncover a size about an area about the size of 2 people, and you don't see any entrance. You see this. This one gem meeting another.
So it's like a 315-ish foot circumference on this tower.
Yeah.
The spire is probably about 100 feet tall.
Yeah. Well, if there's an entrance to this place, it would probably be on the bottom, somewhere along the base.
I would say that. I was just gonna say, I would say that Ku knows that there's no way you could build something like this naturally.
Right. No, this is a more natural formation that got like it is. This is like rock pushed up from ground. It has been worked, but this is was natural.
Do you suppose that there's an interior to this that's been carved out as well, or is it simply just a massive piece of stone?
I would think that there is an interior, but I do not know.
Well, do you have any way to perhaps find out?
All right.
Great deal.
Will require water.
It's something we have in very short supply, I'm afraid. More than we'd be willing to spend. How much do you need?
I hold out the little wooden bowl.
Oh, okay. We can spare that.
All right, so I'll get water from a third camel at this point.
I'll just have to have Allbold ration his water. That's all.
And
very good, sir.
So one of the other functions of this bowl is the ability to sort of a little slightly more in depth than the will or woe. So I'll fill it up with water, and I'm going to sort of dig out a bowl-sized hole, so I
Okay.
can see the green gem right below it.
Yes.
I'm going to set the bowl into that,
Yes.
and on the side closest to the spire, I'm going to build a little mound of sand.
Okay.
And a little mock of the spire, and then on the bottom side of the bowl, the north-south side of the bowl, I'll build just the mound. So one side representing the spire, one side representing the just the mound.
Okay.
And I will pray over it for a bit, and then I'm going to dip my hand into the water and do that sort of Ian Malcolm thing with the theory of chaos. And I'm going to just let the drips of water fall from my fingers to see whether they are collecting more towards the spire side or more towards the base side. To kind of give indication of where the entrance, and that's what the prayer is about, is where is is there an entrance and where is it at? Is it at the spire and more water would collect over there, or is it at the base, the green gem, and more water would collect on that? So I just scoop the water and then let it drip from my fingers to see which of the two sides it sort of.
Okay, and this bowl is a magic item, right? This is
that's my one magic item.
Excellent. So when you do this, as you complete the ritual, the water hits the green surface and runs kind of underneath where you're sitting towards the direction you came from slightly, I guess, and then the whole mound starts to shake a little bit, and all the sand, as if like a huge gust of wind came up, though you feel no wind, just all the sand goes rushing, like not instantly, but over the course of like maybe a minute. Okay, sure.
Yeah, I cover my face.
You don't feel any wind. As I said, you don't feel any wind, but the effects of this looks like as if the sand was being pushed by a wind, and all the sand goes rushing off the surface of this, forming like a kind of a ring, almost like just a loose ring of sand as this whole area becomes exposed. A similar thing happens with the spire, and the sand just goes like rushing away from the spire as if huge wind came up and just pushed it all clean. And when you're done, no sand remains on this structure, and you can get a better view of what it looks like now, which I will show you. Again, forgive my lousy limited art skills, but basically that's what you're looking at. And so this entire green surface is like all green gems, right? It's not multiple gems, but it's I said, I don't know how to describe it. Like the inside of a geode, right?
Yeah, they turn a geode inside out, right? So that the outside is the spiny geode part.
Right, like you wouldn't want to walk on this in bare feet. Let's say that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It'd be like a little pokey. And then this looks like a golden amber gem, and it's much smoother. It's like the facets are very, very large, like the size of dinner plates or bigger, and it sort of twists its way up to the top. And then at the top, you see this massive sphere, which you see now isn't actually quite circular, but it is rather a tetrahedron that has 20 sides, and each side has a different symbol on its surface.
Of course it does. All right. So looking at that, I stand up.
It is the temple of the great GM in the sky.
Ku is likewise no longer covered in sand, and so he still brushes his arms and he looks over at Galen. You may not have time for the gods, but apparently they have time for us.
All right, and I think that's a good place to call it.
Yeah.
All right, well done, guys. All right, thanks everybody for watching. If you liked what you saw here, you can check out Critical Hits on Drive-Thru RPG.
Yeah.
We'll again in 2 weeks. Bye.